Last week, I mentioned in a video that I was scanning headlines looking for a Dave Filoni news article giving us some hints about the Clone Wars Season 7. And I've finally found that article published on EW.com, but this story gets even better because Dave Filoni drops some hints about the Clone Wars Season 7 ending, in particular about Ahsoka Tano. That's right, writer Devin Kogan was able to get Filoni to give us some hints about the ending of the series. Filoni starts by stating, "I tried to do things that honored what we had been doing on the series when I was working with George," Filoni tells EW. "At the same time, I knew this had to have a sense of completion." End quote. And truly, this is a new challenge for Filoni, who was able to give Star Wars Rebels a great ending, but as he states, the Clone Wars is a different beast. People know what happens after this series, so it certainly makes this one more of a challenge for Filoni to wrap up. But certainly Filoni did have a lot to say in this article, so let's move on to the rest. Other final season storylines include the long-teased Siege of Mandalore and the return of Anakin's former Padawan Ahsoka, whom fans last saw walking away from the Jedi Order. In crafting Ahsoka's story, Filoni says he kept going back to what Lucas told him about the pillars of Star Wars storytelling: the struggle between selflessness and the darker path of selfishness, greed, and fear. End quote. So it certainly seems like Dave Filoni is hinting at a test for Ahsoka. But what exactly is that test going to be? Well, obviously we know that she's going to have a duel with Darth Maul. We know that Order 66 is impending. But ultimately, I believe her test will be one that we face every day, as Filoni hints at, and that's whether or not we choose to continue to be part of the light side or we turn to the darkness. And of course, for Ahsoka, this could happen in many different ways. It would be interesting, for example, if Anakin contacts Ahsoka just before his fight versus Obi-Wan Kenobi and asks her to join him and the Emperor. Now that's just total speculation, but believe it or not, Filoni had even more to say in the article. He states, "It's really the backbone of the Star Wars saga," Filoni says. "It's that personal journey. We saw that with Luke, we've seen it with Rey going on this journey, but for me now with Ahsoka, she's been the student Jedi the whole time, and she's finally being challenged by what she will do with her knowledge and her training and her abilities when faced with the ultimate test, which is what you'll see at the end of the Clone Wars here." End quote. So this again makes it sound even more like Ahsoka is going to be seriously tempted to the dark side. But what if it's not Anakin that tempts Ahsoka to the dark side, but actually Maul? In my Ahsoka Tano predictions video, I suggested that Maul could reveal Order 66 to Ahsoka. The trailer, after all, reveals to us, the audience, that he knows that Order 66 is coming very soon. So then, what if Maul reveals Order 66 to Ahsoka Tano and asks her to join him in taking down Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious? I mean, this makes total sense to me because Maul wants revenge on Sidious, and Ahsoka would love to save her Jedi friends and end this war. Again, this is just a bit of speculation, and it would certainly make for an interesting challenge for Ahsoka, because in choosing to join Maul, she would end the war and save the Jedi. So it initially sounds like a great idea, but ultimately Ahsoka would have just replaced one Sith with another, and the Empire would be born one way or another. That speculation out of the way, folks, I've been asking on the community tab a question of the day, and I put it to you guys: what is this challenge going to be for Ahsoka? How is she going to be tempted to the dark side? And as always, I got some interesting answers. First up here is Grey Dawn, and she states maybe she will be tempted to kill Darth Maul instead of taking him in. And similarly, First Ironclad 40 states it's probably going to happen when she has to decide if she will kill Maul or save Rex. And I absolutely love both of these predictions and speculation. It would really be cool to see Ahsoka in a position to kill Maul and really have to struggle with that decision on whether or not she's going to eliminate him. Likewise, I love the idea that she would have to choose between saving a friend or eliminating Maul, this great evil. Very cool speculation, but let's move on to Roberto. And he states, and lots of other people mention this, I bet her greatest challenge will be whether to continue to follow the Jedi way or not. And Roberto, I think in some ways she's already decided not to be a Jedi, not to follow the Jedi way. Of course, we saw her leave the Jedi Order in Season 5. That said, she does come back to the Clone Wars and she is trying to defend peace and justice on Mandalore. So it could be something that she continues to struggle with. It's also something that is mentioned in the Ahsoka novel that she is struggling with even then, so it would make sense that we see a little bit of that in this story, and I mean we do in the trailer, so obviously that is coming as well. I'm just not sure if this is going to be the big struggle that she has at the end, which Filoni was hinting at. I think it's going to be more of a constant struggle for her throughout. But let's move on to Grievous Sully and his or her comment. They state, I think Maul would be too obvious in that Dave Filoni wants us to think it'll be Maul, when in reality it'll be someone else we might not have seen in the Clone Wars before. And of course, Grievous here is talking about that ultimate test at the end of the Clone Wars Season 7 for Ahsoka Tano. And the first thing that came to mind was my first speculation bit earlier in the video, where Anakin might say something similar to Ahsoka, that he mentions to Padme, that he's going to take over the universe, he's going to defeat the Emperor and become the ruler. But let's move on now to commenter Ahsoka, who suggests Darth Maul taunting Ahsoka for walking away from the Jedi Order because, unlike her, Darth Maul wouldn't have walked away from being a Sith Lord if he had a choice to stay. And of course, she's talking about that ultimate test for Ahsoka at the end of the series. They go on to state, Dave Filoni stated that Ahsoka and Darth Maul's stories parallel on purpose because if you think about it, Ahsoka outlived Maul because she didn't stay stuck in the past, and she knew how to let go of her attachments when she left the Jedi Order. This is why Ahsoka will be more focused when she fights Darth Maul, because she doesn't allow her emotions to cloud her judgment and actions. And some great insight there, Ahsoka, thank you very much. This reminds me of what Dave Filoni mentioned about Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi when they face off for a final time in Star Wars Rebels. He just basically mentioned how Obi-Wan Kenobi had continued to learn and become much more powerful, whereas Maul really hadn't progressed. And Maul was swiftly defeated by Ben Kenobi because he hadn't grown. So I can totally see the same being true here, as Ahsoka is a character that has continued to evolve and develop, whereas Maul has simply not. He's allowed his hatred and frustrations to hold him back from evolving and becoming more powerful. But hey, Star Wars fans, I want to thank you so much for leaving those comments in the community tab. There were lots of them. I wish I could have included all of them. And as always, I want to say my name's Mike. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.